In this movie, we'll take a look at a few common resolution standards, and I'll explain exactly where they come from. Now, bear in mind that resolution only matters when you're printing an image. It doesn't affect how the image appears on screen, as when creating a web design, for example. So we'll be looking at three common types of printers: a laser printer, which requires the least amount of resolution; a commercial prepress, that is, when you're taking an image into a commercial print house to get it professionally reproduced; and then finally, a consumer inkjet printer, which requires the most resolution. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to this image here, and this is showing how an image would reproduce either with the laser printer or if you took it into a commercial printer. And the idea is that these type of printers use four inks: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And then they mix the inks in order to create all the other colors that we're seeing right now. And they do so using halftone dots. And so if I press Control 1 or Command 1 on the Mac to zoom in to 100%, and then I scroll to this guy's right eye, let's say, then you can see these halftone dots. They're all circles, and they just vary in size. So big magenta dots, for example, are going to result in very dark magenta areas, and small magenta dots are going to result in light magenta areas. And then you can see that we have cyan, yellow, and black dots intermingling as well. Now, the number of dots per linear inch is known as the line screen, and it's measured in lines per inch, or LPI. And the reason that's important is because that defines the resolution of your image. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to this full color image right here. And then I'll go up to the image menu and choose the image size command. Again, you've got a keyboard shortcut of Control-Alt-I or Command-Option-I on the Mac. Because I canceled out of this dialog box in the previous movie, it's very small. So I'll go ahead and enlarge it like so. And now notice this Fit To option right there. If you click on it, you've got an early command called Auto Resolution. And notice that this dialog box lists a screen frequency, as it's known, measured in lines per inch, as I was just telling you. So this is the number of halftone dots per linear inch. And one of the big standards is 133.3, as it turns out. If you select Draft and click OK, then you're going to set the resolution to 133 as well. That is one image pixel for each and every halftone dot. That's a very low resolution, by the way. It's not one that you want to use. If you're scaling an image for a laser printer, typically you want to choose this command again and go ahead and set it to good instead, and then click OK, at which point we're going to see a resolution of 200 pixels per inch, which is about as low as you want to go when printing an image. Now let's say we're going to prepress instead. We're going to take our image to a commercial printer for professional reproduction. Then we'd go ahead and choose this command again, and this time we'd select the best option, which is going to assign 2 pixels to each halftone dot. And that's actually 2 pixels wide and 2 pixels tall for a total of 4 pixels per halftone dot. And if you click OK now, you'll see a resolution of 266 pixels per inch. The real standard is 267 for what it's worth. Not that it makes that much difference, but the reason it's 267 is because the actual standard halftone screen frequency is 133.3 lines per inch. Now, this is where things start. 267 is about as low as you want to go for professional prepress, but you might want to go higher. Notice if I go ahead and choose auto resolution once again, the other common screen frequency is 150 lines per inch. And if I select good for that and click OK, I'm going to see a resolution of 225 pixels per inch. So that's kind of the high end for laser printing. If I choose auto resolution again, and this time select best, which is best for commercial reproduction, and click OK, then I'll see a resolution of 300 pixels per inch. So let's just think about commercially reproducing this image for a moment. You want to set that value between 267 and 300. And to be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't matter if you go a little higher, if you set it to 330 or something like that. That is not going to adversely affect things at all, nor do you have to come up with an even value. You could enter something like 287 pixels per inch or 293 pixels per inch. It really doesn't matter as long as it's inside that 267 to 300 pixels per inch range. Now, what about when laser printing an image? Laser printers do not rely on halftone dots. They rely on very small dot patterns. And a standard high-end inkjet resolution is 1440 dots per inch. That's how printers are measured, is in dots per inch. And so you want to have about 25% as many pixels. So that is a quarter of a pixel for every dot. And as it just so happens, 1440 divided by 4 is 360 pixels per inch. And that resolution is going to deliver some very nice-looking inkjet output. So again, I've thrown a lot at you, so let's review things here. I'll go ahead and switch over to this image. And so here we have some common print resolutions. Starting with a medium resolution laser printed image, you're looking at a resolution of 1.5 times the line screen, which might be anywhere from 133 to 150 LPI. So you want an image that has at least 200 pixels per inch, or even up to 225 pixels per inch. Although if you go higher than that, that is just fine. This is the bottom range. Or you may just want to anticipate that you're going to be commercially reproducing the image, at which point you want to make sure you have at least 267 pixels per inch, or even more ideally, 300 pixels per inch. And then finally, let's say you want an image that's going to work out for all of those environments, as well as high-quality inkjet. Then you want 25% of the lower maximum print resolution. And I know that sounds a little confusing, but let's take, for example, the Epson Stylus Photo line, which is a great line of printers that can be had for less than $1,000. Their maximum resolution is 5760 by 1440 DPI. We care about the lower of the two values. So 1440 DPI, you take that value, you divide it by 4, and you get the standard inkjet image resolution, which is 360 pixels per inch. Now, again, that's a lot of information, but those are the common resolution standards that you want to take into account when setting the resolution of your images here inside Photoshop.